We know next to nothing about Elden Ring, but that won't stop me and the GameSpot staff from listing off some things we'd love to see in From Software's next outing. Well, I guess I should back up a little. You might know something, but we are going to pretend like that little leak never happened. Just to make it crystal clear, I won't be commenting on the leak or showing any Elden Ring gameplay footage, so if you're worried about spoilers, you can rest easy. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and like the video, it really does help us out. Number 1, world diversity. At this point, From Software has shown it can execute spectacularly on different flavors of fantasy, whether it's the medieval vibes of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, the cosmic horror of Bloodborne, or the Sengoku Samurai era of Sekiro. Elden Ring is the studio's first open world game, and naturally I expect it to be much grander in scope. The so-called Elden Ring that has been shattered is described as something that commanded the stars, and its destruction burned the sky. It would be fascinating to see the impact this has on numerous different kinds of societies and civilizations. In-game, that would mean being able to travel from one kingdom to the next, effectively letting From Software flex its creative muscles with a variety of different themes and aesthetics. Using the studio's existing games, imagine traveling from Lordran to Yharnam, and then to Drangleic or Boletaria, and then to Ashina. Sure, it's ambitious, but if anyone can pull it off, it's From Software. Couple that with Game of Thrones writer George R.R. Martin being involved in the creation of Elden Ring, and you've got a good opportunity to deliver a vast and diverse world, rich in detail, intricate history, and fascinating lore. Number 2, a dangerous open world. All that said, I've been having a lot of trouble wrapping my head around an open world Souls-like game. I'm confident it can work, I just don't know how it will work. The maze-like interconnected passageways have long been a staple of the series. Designing an open world game is another beast entirely. Will the entire world be open to you from the get-go? If so, how will it be balanced? Will some sections of the map be too tough for you early on, or will enemies scale with you as you level up? Will some areas be shut off entirely, or will they be gated by environmental hazards akin to Death Mountain in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Either way, the world needs to feel dangerous and alive no matter where you are in it. Number 3, with caves and dungeons to explore. While I'm excited to see what From Software does with an open world, I hope I still get slices of their brilliant linear level design. If we do, I imagine this will come in the form of caves, dungeons, and castles the player is free to explore. I want to hop on my horse, ride until I see an abandoned castle, and explore a tightly crafted dungeon with worthwhile loot, tough enemies, and of course, a terrifying boss. Number 4, puzzles. Speaking of caves and dungeons, Hidetaka Miyazaki wears his influences on his sleeve, and he is known to be a big fan of the Legend of Zelda franchise. In his own words, the franchise was a monumental part of his younger life, and has acknowledged that Zelda became a textbook for the 3D action games. It would be great to see Miyazaki pull more directly from Nintendo's franchise, specifically Breath of the Wild's shrines. Outside of gimmick bosses, traditional puzzle solving hasn't been a big part of From Software's games, and although it doesn't need to be the main focus, I would love to see From Software invite the player to think in different ways in one of their games. Perhaps in Elden Ring, the challenges don't just have to be powerful enemies, but could also include puzzles that can only be surmounted with analysis and logical thinking. The open world will no doubt be filled with caves, dungeons, and other nooks and crannies to explore, and they'd be perfect for a bit of puzzle gameplay. Number 5, class-based design. I loved Sekiro. Hell, it might even be one of my favorite games of this generation. However, I think I speak for most of us when I say that I miss the class system found in Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne. If Elden Ring is From Software's first open world game, a class and leveling system would feel right at home. I want to be able to test out different builds, level up unique weapons, and create my perfect hero for whatever terrifying bosses I might face off against. Hopefully From Software will also introduce some classes unique to the world Miyazaki and Martin have created. I always loved how Bloodborne's classes were wholly unique to its setting, and I hope we get some outlandish builds I can play around with. Or just let me be Giant Dad again. Number 6, better stealth. Let's face it, the stealth in Dark Souls and Bloodborne has always been a bit awkward and a tad broken. They did a better job of balancing it over the years, but stealth never really felt like a viable option. This changed with 2019 Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Surprisingly, the addition of stealth mechanics didn't make it any easier either. You could even stealth attack some bosses, but if you didn't have a good grasp of the combat itself, the boss would make short work of you. For Elden Ring, I hope that stealth becomes a more feasible option. Whether that means giving us a dedicated crouch button or an entire stealth attribute I can invest in is another story. The key here though is to balance it. I wouldn't want it to feel cheesy or significantly easier than other playstyles. Though magic-based gameplay has been present in some form or another in every Souls game, it's never been outstanding in any. Demon's Souls is often remembered as having the best magic mechanics, but that's usually because it's incredibly overpowered. Not only could you pick off enemies from a distance with ease, but MP restoration items were common. This allowed for a wide variety of magic builds that could easily break the balance. In every subsequent Souls game, the magic system was reworked entirely. Dark Souls 3 borrowed a lot from Demon's Souls magic-based mechanics, but none have been as fun or as interesting as the original Demon's Souls system. Hopefully the success of the remake means From Software will take another look at its magic system. Who knows, maybe they're cooking up something else entirely for magic. Number 8. Towns and more NPCs. One of my favorite things about Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro are the memorable NPCs. Like many of you, I cling on to nearly every word they say, listening for hints, secrets, and bits of lore. However, NPCs can be scarce. Some can even be missed entirely if you aren't paying attention. I would be really curious to see what From Software would do with a town populated by NPCs. Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne all took place after a catastrophic event that left most of the population either dead or hiding. Hopefully Elden Ring will show us a world slightly more alive than before. Also, I'm thinking it, you're thinking it, we're all thinking it, but what role will patches play in Elden Ring? Sound off in the comments below with your theories. Number 9. Dragon Rider. From Software seems to have a bit of an antagonistic relationship with dragons, and by extension, the players of its games end up having that too. The mythical beasts are a mainstay in most of its games, and for the most part, players are either jabbing swords into their hides or running frantically away from them as they fuse-spire in our direction, usually on some sort of bridge. Unless, of course, it's that no-good betrayer Seath the Scaleless, then they're running frantically away from ice crystals. I think it's time to rewrite that relationship a bit and let players befriend a dragon. People have been making a big deal about Elden Ring having horse-mounted traversal, but why not go one step further? From Software, let us ride a dragon. It doesn't have to be all the time, and it doesn't even have to be with our direct control. Maybe there's a kingdom of dragons on the outskirts of the world, and if you wanted to travel across the landmass quickly, they'd let you take a dragon. As opposed to directly controlling the beast, it could be kind of like World of Warcraft's fast travel system, where you just watch the dragon fly over the entire world and it just drops you where you want. Then, like World of Warcraft, they could update the game so that you could play Peggle while on the dragon. On second thought, maybe no Peggle, especially if it's that wretched Peggle blast. Number 10. Intricate and obtuse lore. For many, the story and lore of the Soulsborne games are the highlights. While some might consider the plots themselves to be simple, there is an endless amount of backstory to dig into any one of these games. Sekiro, on the other hand, is a bit of an exception. While there still is a ton of interesting lore, it puts a greater emphasis on the plot. Now, this isn't a bad thing by any stretch, but part of the reason why Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Demon's Souls are so memorable is how obtuse everything was. Not only did you have to work hard to beat bosses, but you had to work hard to unpack the story. For Elden Ring, I hope From Software manages to find a rewarding balance between an interesting plot and an intricate and deep world. Those are just a few things I'd love to see in Elden Ring. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks all, and I will see you next time.